Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian Report, and I want to start with the weekly chart for the ASX 200 here. And as you may know, and I need to go over this a few times, is important junction here. So from this wave 4 here, we've been counting 5 waves up, which we can get as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then up for 5 here in this run here to make the 5th wave here. So we have that, and if that's the case, then we've come down 5 waves for wave 1, we'll come back for wave 2, and then we'll go down for wave 3. That's possible. We'll get to that when we see this particular rally come into play here, okay? The other count for this is from this wave 4 here, we've got this up as 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and then we've got this A wave here in orange, B wave, and a C wave here for wave 4 here. And then if that's the case, then we'll move up into wave 5. It is a little bit unusual though to see a C wave here so sharp, because normally when you get a correction coming to the upside, it's the A wave that's sharp, and then the B wave, and the C wave is normally on a bit more of an angle, so to speak. So when it's actually sharper than the actual A wave here, then it's a bit of a concern that the count may be wrong in that particular instance. So we have to work through this particular issue here step by step. Now, even though we don't know what the bigger picture holds, we can always find solace in trading within smaller time frames that we do know. One of the other points here too is that we've got 5,000 here and 6,500 here, and in the middle here we've got 5,750. That's just the halfway mark between these two, and you can see that the market has had some dealings with this particular level here. There's other levels that are important in here as well that we can look at, but one of the main points here is that we're obviously going to get some support here, and we're also seeing this is the little rise here has been driven by banks, and we've seen support in CBA, which holds about 9% of the index, finding support at 65. Now 65 is a medium level, and we're seeing the bounce off there, and ANZ doing much the same at 25, which is a medium level there as well. So we have got that support. We're also seeing support in some of the other Asian markets as well at large numbers, and we'll have a look at those when we get there. So there is a sort of a basis for support for these markets. This particular move down through here, I've been counting it in 5 waves to the downside. Let me just organize this here. So I just want to go over this here. So I can count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, okay? If I've made a mistake here, the mistake would be that the 5th wave is not in, and this is a 3rd wave, and this will be a 4th wave here, and taking the top here roughly to the low here roughly, then the 38.2% retracement level would come in at 5,844 roughly here, or to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, which is a little bit higher here. So we need to be mindful of that particular position, and we've been looking at a move like that on the 2-hour chart, and we can revisit that as well. The other point here is that the closest largest number here, there's a few important numbers here, but the 5,800 is the most pressing number at the moment. We can also see too that it was resistance here, support, and now it's the resistance here, but we don't know if that's going to hold. If this market finds the 5,800 as support, well then obviously we can go higher. Now we can go higher to that 44 I just mentioned, or we can even come up higher here, or the low could be in place and we could come right up through here. So it's a bit of a tricky one. The banks will also be rallying as well as they have done over the last few days, But I think in their case, it's just a rally. And we can also have a look at those too in a moment. So I'll just finish this off in here. So on the 4-hour chart here, a bit rough, 1 and 2, and I was counting these down here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and wave 4 here, and then looking down for wave 5 here. I've always had a bit of a problem with this top here. On the cash market, this is the top here, this one here, but obviously this is a higher top than this one. In fact, this one is actually higher than this one. So, but on the XJO, this is the high here. So, yeah, bit of a tricky one to work with. So I've had a few issues with that. But because this has moved up so far, we would have to say that this low is in place here now. And when I go to the tick chart to have a look at this here, so we also here, before I do that, you can see that we've got this line in the sand here at the 5,800. So normally what happens if this market is going to push up through here, it will push up with a fair bit of effort to get through all that and the supply, but then it will be forced back down here again. So this could actually be a top in play here because it would be close to the 38.2% retracement level. So that will also give us our reference point to go long as well. We may be able to get the second one that comes in here as such, and then we can use that one there to go long. And that's if the market moves up from that point. Okay, otherwise it could just fall back down from this point and finish another leg to the downside. So this move up here too so far is really, when we look at it, is in 3 waves, isn't it? We've got the first move here, we've got the second move here, and we've got this move that's underway here at the moment. So in fact, this particular move up through here, this could be an A and a B and a C here. So technically, we should be able to short that low here as well, if that's breached to that point, because, yeah, we'll have a look at that a bit closer. So I'll just go to the hourly chart here. This is how I've resolved the situation here. I need to put that back over. I've been just trying different things, but on the cash market, that's the high here. So, I mean, I have to point this out because you can just naturally see that that's higher than that one here, but on the cash market, that is the higher one here. So I kind of got to run with that. And this is the count that I've got here in terms of wave 2 here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down for 5 to the third, an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here, and then this move down through here. If the extension's in wave 2 to 3 here, that means that wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same. And this one does count down as 5 waves here, it's fine. This little move up through here, that counts nicely as 5 waves up here, and a 3-wave counter trend coming back down onto this number here that I find really important as well, the 5650. That is halfway between 8 and 5 here, so I always find that that plays a part. We also know too that the 5,750 here is the halfway in that bigger picture, so that's also an important level as well. So having support on that is a catalyst, but to refine that, we'd need to get support on here. This little move up here, I can't figure out if we've got wave 1 and 2 in here and 3 here and 4 here, and we go up for sorry, just get my drawing tool, go up for wave 5 here. So this could have 5 waves in it already, and this could be down for 1 here. All right, so that means that we should be able to short below that. I'd be a bit reluctant to trade long up through here, even if it can go higher up through here, because once it gets up here, we would call this the classic trading levels pattern, where we have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, which will be in 5 waves, and then we'll have a corrective move here, coming back into support, probably on the 750, and it's either going to move down from that point or move up from that point. If it's going to move up from that point, then we'd have that as our reference point. We don't need to chase that. We don't need to even worry about it because it will fold back. It may go a little bit higher. It may come up to this high here. or somewhere close to it. But once we've got that high in place, then it will fall back and retest the 5.8 here in one way or another, and can drop below that. So we just follow these highs down as such until we've got the one that we want, and when we're triggered and we can move to the upside. That's the safest way. And then if that's the case, then I'll need to rearrange this A and B and C wave here into a larger structure, probably even an impulse wave. But I need to allow this to play out. I know that because we get 5 waves here, that we'll get another 5 waves over here, but that would still leave us with 3. So if we move up to this point here, and then we come back with a correction and we move up, then we're going to have 5 waves up there. We may not be able to call it wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. We may have to call it wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and so on, but we would know at that point we would be going higher at that stage. So I'll just save that. I don't think the tick chart can really enlighten us further with this. So I've got this low here in place in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the A wave, and A and a B and a C for the B wave. I'm not quite sure how to count this little structure here. I just haven't had the time to really pull it apart. But I'm just assuming that we can go 1 and 2 here, and all of this being the 3rd wave here and a 4th wave here. But that said, it's quite possible to have 5 waves up into this space here as an A and a B and a C, and fail from here and have this down as 1 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 2. That's why we'll go short under here. Now you'll probably get problems in this space here because of Fibbo ratios. So don't overdo it here. If the 5.7 becomes the retested resistance, then you can add to the position and start to move down from that point. So I'm just going to have a look at CBA to start with. Just want to have a look at the banking sector. So on the, is it the weekly chart? I might have different counts on here, so you have to bear with me. So, okay, this will do. So this is the top here. You know, with CBA, it's possible to have this wave 3 here, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. I was figuring that we could have a top in place for some of the other markets, but this is not real. You know, when I was talking about corrections before, sorry to waffle on so much, but you know, the market comes up to the top here, has an A wave down, and then a B wave, and then the C wave here. And the C wave is on more of an angle, and we can see that here. So this is kind of sharpish here. And then we've got the B wave, and then we've got the C wave here, which is on more of an angle than the A wave here. So that's why I'll still call it the A wave, the C wave here in this case. But the way to count this would be wave 1 here, wave 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I can't call this all the way down to wave 1 here because it's in 3 waves here. I mean, if it was the case, then we would have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll be finished here. But I just think this is a bounce off the medium level here, and it's wave 4. In this case, it can come quite high here. So this is what I wanted to talk about it for a bit. Yeah, on the and coming down from wave 4 to here, so from there to the daily chart, wave 4 to wave 5 here, I've pretty much got this here as wave 1 here, ABC for wave 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in this case, just go to the 4-hour chart just to see what I've done here. Yeah, so 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here. And I'm just assuming this is 1 and 2 in here, and 3 and 4 and 5 here. If I'd made a mistake here, then there would be one more low to come into play here to finish this one off here, and then we'd move up from that point. But it would have to finish right where it is here pretty much. Now, it's kind of interesting. If you have a look at, if I just go back to the weekly chart here, we've got this move down through here. So WBC is basically the same. If I bring this over, 1 second, I'll just get it on the weekly chart here. So bringing that over, it's much the same here, how we've got the, sorry for all these other things around, it's a working chart, work in progress. So wave A, wave B, or wave 2, but wave B, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it's a little bit closer in this case of actually being finished here. So because in CBA we're going for this fourth wave here. You see, the difference is the difference is in this space here. So I do have a problem in this. In this case here. In this case here, I can bring that straight down here as wave 1 and 2. But in this case here, I've got this extra one in play here. Anyway, you can look at that in your own time. So WBC is the same sort of picture here. If I bring it into the daily chart now and pick this up here, then I was looking at this here as wave 4 here, and wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then pretty much wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down to here and 4. So it's still got more to finish here. And this is kind of, I don't know if I've done anything on the 4-hour chart here. I'll just check. Nope. Maybe 1-hour chart. Nope. So not to matter. The ANZ, it's going to bounce off the 25 here. And I've got, this is actually kind of interesting here. This is a different count here. It's kind of completely different. This is, I'm looking at this in a completely different pattern here, but this may not be the case. It's just the fact that this move down here has clearly overlapped this structure here. So we may end up even with a triangle pattern within all of this here too, from wave 3 here being to wave 4 here. I've got as an A and a B and a C here, but it could be a very complex triangle developing as well. But I don't need to go in there at the moment, but this is a little bit different here. With the other markets, I've had this as wave down here for wave A, up here for wave B, and this here is all completely different. So I can't label this the same as I've labeled the other markets, but what I can do is I can just focus on this little track here, and that's what I have been doing. It's a little bit confusing, all of that, I know, but so with this here, this is a daily chart, and coming down here as wave 1 and 2 in here, that's very clear. So obviously we got the third wave in through here. I think I've done some work on here on the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart. So from this wave B up here, we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave here. So in this case here, this market should come back closely to the 38.2% retracement level here. So in this case, I can see it coming back to this space and then moving down. But with CBA, I can see CBA moving higher. So I've got two banks that are going to be doing two different things, moving in the same direction, but one more than the other. So obviously one of them is wrong, and I need to spend some time on those to get that right. Okay, that's enough on the Australian market, but I did want to bring in the banks on this one. So I'll go straight to Hong Kong, and I don't need to spend a lot of time here with this. This is almost like CBA in a way too, with a wave 3 here, and we're looking for a wave 4 to move back here. So it's still really gripping the medium level here, 25. So I still just want to wait and see. We should see some sort of lift off this. If not, we can start looking at short trades under this, under a failed retest. But I just want to give this a little bit of time here. And also with Japan as well. Japan's sort of interesting, the Nikkei, because we've got wave 3 over here, an A wave here, an A and a B and a C here. Out of all the markets in the world, this is one of the clearest that has got this as a B wave up here. And I've been counting 5 waves down through here, and I can count 5 waves finish. So the reality is, it can be wave C of wave 4 and be finished here, and then just move straight up here into wave 5. That's what that could do. Or it can move up here to, I'd have to call this wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then wave 3 and so on, wave 4 and wave 5. So five waves coming down further from here. So I don't know if this is wave C or wave 1 here. All I do know is I've been counting 5 waves down here. And once again, we're going to see support on these old lows here as well. So if I just go to maybe the 4 hour or the 1 hour, I'm not sure, at 3 hours, I don't do anything on that. So yeah, so look, in a nutshell, I've been counting this down through here in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I was looking for one more little move here to come down into this space here. It hasn't really given me a nice sort of 5th wave down through here. So I'll just have a look on the 1 hour chart, see if I've, so I can count my 5 waves down here just from wave 4 here. I've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. That's all clear for the 3rd wave. The 4th wave, an A and a B and a C for the 4th wave, and down for the 5th wave. This doesn't really give me 5 waves down here, so I'm wondering if I should be actually calling that as such there, calling that the 5th wave here. It might be the case that this is just the 3rd wave here, and the 4th wave here, copy this and put this over here as an A and a B and a C, something moving up into the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. So I'm not going to make a call on this. If we get the 22,000 as support, then we'll look to go long at that point. I mean, if you're a day trader, you can certainly go to the upside here, because all of this here is corrective here, so we should be pushing up from that point. All I'm going to do is I don't know if I can call that low in just yet here, because this move down through here it looks like it's in 3 waves, so it does look like it's a bit of a B wave in that particular case. So yeah, I just need to get a bit clear on this low here, but certainly today support on 21,500 will give you the long trade, and also give you the stop under that number as well. Don't put stops on even numbers. Or whole numbers rather. So India. Once again, India, the same thing as well. So it'll same as the Nifty, the Japanese market, and the Australian market too. So they've all got the same sort of pattern really. So this is a little bit more subtle here, this ABC, compared to the Nikkei. And the Australian market too is also subtler as well. But A, B, and the C wave here. So let's see if this is a C wave here or just wave 1. But look, we could probably move up from this point. And if I've made a mistake here, the mistake would be that we would only go back up to this point here and then have another move down here before moving up. Otherwise, we'll move straight up from this particular point here. So we can start having a look at long trades within this. So I don't think I've done much work on this. I'll just have a bit of a look, a bit short on time. So yeah, when I spoke last time, going from wave 4 here down to wave 5 here, I was a little bit reluctant to call this wave 5 in, because wave 3 here wave 1 it looks like it's got the extension in it, but wave 3 here also looked a little bit short here compared to this one here. I know things get skewed around a little bit, but yeah, there's something not quite right about this. But you could certainly look to go long on these here. The real trade here, I mean, not the real trade, sorry, let's go back over. We've got 10,000, which is a major level, and then we've got these minor levels, which is 100, 200, and 300, 1, 2, and 3. If we get support on top of 3 here, then we know that we've separated the pull from the 10,000 here. In getting to support here, yes, we can push up through here. We'll probably react from here. We don't have to, but then we'll push up and then we'll come back down So there's really, this is the classic trading levels pattern, and then this here where it doesn't stop here and just goes straight through. Normally it's called the overshoot pattern, but it still finds the top and still comes back down. And it's interesting because when you get the overshoot pattern, the pattern that follows is normally a pattern that sort of diminishes into a particular point, and that's it. So you could also go long from here, but it's also this top here that we're looking at here. So we get an ABC pattern here, and if it moves up from there, then we're on our way from that particular point there. So the main point here at this stage is going long here is really putting the stop in the right place. So let's just have a look at that for a moment. So if you're going to go long now, then put that stop just under there. That would be about right. But also too, if you go long here, because we haven't confirmed that we're actually in a trend yet in these Asian indices, then we need to tread lightly. We don't want to miss out. We don't want to overdo it. We want to find a balance on all of this. So having a small position here that's, if you normally trade 10 contracts, then just trade, 5 here or whatever, less, and then look to add over on this point over here, and then we know that we're on our way at that point, and we can build in stronger at that point coming up into this space. So I'll just leave it at that, and yeah, alrighty, thanks for tuning in, much appreciated, cheers.